Hey, what's going on? Wealthy Legacy Journeyers, welcome back to the Wealthy Legacy Journey. I'm your host, Kendell Liden, and the title of today's episode is And We're Off. And I'm so excited to bring you guys some really cool news today about what has transpired over the last week or so. Some massive milestones hit, some exciting news, and just to celebrate some wins with you guys. So let's kick it off right out of the gate. So last week, as you guys know, been paper trading the stocks. And last week, absolutely crushed it in the first half of the week when it came to paper trading, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to give you the breakdown here right quick. So on Monday, November 18th, we got 96.5% return on the range night, which was really good. And that was actually, I believe, that might have been my highest day ever. I'm trying to remember how all these days like transpired, but it was up there. It was like one of my bigger, if not biggest days. And then the next day I had another really big day on November 19th, 247.9%. I'm almost positive that this is my biggest day that I've ever had as far as paper trading goes. And I was absolutely pumped about that. On Wednesday, we cranked out another 130% ROI day, which was absolutely fantastic. And so that actually brought us, if you guys remember, if you've been tracking with the show through October, we ended up with a 743.1% loss. It was really painful, very sad. I was crushed. And so whenever I came into November, I was like, okay, I'm going to start at zero, but I still have, that ground that I have to make up. So once I make up that ground, we can go live with real money. So at the beginning of last week, I was up 306.93% for all of November. And then you have Monday at 96.5%. You have Tuesday at 247.9%. And you have Wednesday at 130%. Even that brought me up to 781.33% ROI for the month of November. I'm making up for the deficit of 743.1% in October by quick math, 38% or so, somewhere in that ballpark. And so I was really excited. That meant that the next day we could paper trade. So the reason the title of today's episode is And We're Off is because last week, last Thursday, which, this coming out today, last Thursday, was the first day to trade with real money. We started off, we had a 13-week plan in place. I think I talked to you guys about this last week, if I remember correctly. But day one is $100. Day two was 300. Day three, and then it was sorry, no, it was 100, 500, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, and then 10,000. We did have a plan to transition over to another brokerage for cheaper rates. It's not going to be able to work right out of the gate. We realized, okay, we're going to have to build this like API thing, and it's going to get a little bit more complicated than just a simple transition over because they don't quite have the same software technology capabilities. So anyways, so that 13-day plan is now shrunk just to the $10,000 with the broker that we're currently a part of, which is Charles Schwab. We're using their Thinkorswim platform, which is pretty advanced for the options trading stuff. I've really enjoyed working with that platform. And so that put me on last Thursday, November 21st. I made 103%. Now, I'll say this. I actually didn't take a picture of it, but I made 133%, but I only walked away with, if I remember correctly, it was like 56% and some change was my actual net. And then on the following day on Friday, I grossed 43%, but I only netted 2.7%. I was crushed on commissions. And so I actually ended up calling him on Thursday, Charles Schwab, and I was like, hey, can we get a discount in commissions? And I just had a really good conversation with them. I don't want to share publicly what rates they gave me. But after I showed them, the amount that I was trading on paper, I told them my plan for what I was going to be trading in actuality and how we were going to be building up over the next week and a half or so as we built our way up, the number of contracts that we plan to trade every month. They did give me a discount, which is going to help our bottom line because I won't give exact numbers, but it was, roughly a 25% discount off of their usual rate. And so I'm really excited about that. And, we traded with that. Today's Monday. I just traded with that this morning for the very first time. Today was a rougher day. I made what was it? I walked away with 26% is what it was. And that was my gross, and my net was like 8 point something. Actually, you know what? I texted my wife and I told her about it because I'm texting her every day as accountability so I can stop trading. Um, And let's see. So my gross was 26%. My net was 8.53%. So I made $260 trade for trade. Once you account for commissions, I was up $85.25 today. That's off of $1,000 investment. And so today is 1,000. Tomorrow will be 3,000. Wednesday will be 5,000. Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we cannot trade that day. The day after Thanksgiving being a Friday, that'll be 10,000. And then we will hit the races strong going into December, trading at $10,000 a day all month through the month of December. Now, at the beginning of January, as long as we're able to keep up a solid pace and we have a strong amount of contracts that we are trading, the plan is to, Schwab said, call him back and we can see if we can negotiate any further discounts based off of trading volume. So my hope is that we're trading at over 100,000 contracts per month, and they'll be able to give us a discount. The other angle that we might play is looking at basically, for example, just if you look at today's at a $10,000, as long as we're able to continue seeing these results, we scale up. We just didn't want to run like any liquidity issues. Um, but if you look at it, what we did today from a scale of $10,000, our commissions are what we had to pay for commissions. If you look at, we made 26%. We on our gross, our net was only like 8 something percent. We lost roughly 18% or so on commissions. If we could lower our commissions using this other brokerage by about a fifth or so, maybe a fourth, somewhere in that territory. We could have significantly reduced, our commissions. Let's just say it was 20%, down to 5%. That would be a savings on $10,000 from, it would be about $2,000 of commissions down to about $500 of costs and commissions. And we would have saved about $1,500. So if we can do that for any sort of length of time, I know that the savings will outweigh the cost of building the API in the long run. It might take us a couple weeks to a month to pay it off. But hey, I mean, to be able to pay off an investment like that in a couple weeks to a month would be fantastic. So we are considering, if we have a strong month in December, looking into building, paying to have that API built out. One of my other goals is to get my whole trading setup built in the office that I'm currently in. I want to get a really cool standing desk so I can go up and down and monitors. And I've really never had the funds and anything that I've done where I've just like devoted to my setup, because I haven't really needed it. But because this current thing I'm doing is actually stock trading and it's all on the computer, I have to put some money and in resources into my computer setup. I am actually a little bit excited about that to build that out. And that might mean that I start switching offices for recording. I'm not 100% sure. I might still record in here. This is, I'm officing in my parents' house. I'm officing in their office for all the trading stuff because my dad's trading with me, and so we'll just be back to back. But I'll pay for all my own setup and everything like that. This is currently in the bedroom in our fifth wheel that I record the podcast in. So I'm not sure if the podcast will swap to over there as well. We'll just have to see what time has in store. But I am really hoping that we can continue with the momentum that we have going on right now. But before we go to as excited as I am with the money and like the gains that we're seeing right now, during my Bible time this last week, there was this verse that stuck out to me before I, share some other really exciting stuff. I want to pause and talk about this. Deuteronomy 6:5, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all of your strength. And as I was thinking about that, I was just challenged in as I am, in this wealthy legacy journey and I'm pursuing building wealth and making money and what that looks like. I've been challenged myself to go, how do I do that process in a way that honors and glorifies God? How do I not be changed as a person? How do I, if I am changed, I'm changed for the better? How do I use resources that I am building for His glory, for His good, for the good of the world around me, to honor, Jesus and what He did and, living out what He called me to do as a Christian to go out into the world and proclaim the Great Commission, to tell people the good news of what Jesus has done, the sacrifice that He made, the freedom that He gave us, and all those wonderful things. So I've been really thinking about that. I would challenge you, especially if you're on a wealthy legacy journey, alongside me, but you are a believer at the same time. Sometimes it just gets tricky of like, how do you handle money inside of the church? And so many people inside the church think that money's bad. But I can tell you this, I know some wealthy believers who are able to do a lot of good, and I plan to be one of those wealthy believers who can do a lot of good furthering the kingdom of God. But it's that balance, like not letting the money and the love for money seep into your heart, corrupt your heart, eat it away and, destroy you. So, um, anyways, but with all that said, I feel so blessed right now. What a crazy turnaround story from what we were experiencing in October. I'm currently 16 days in the green, just had another positive trading day. Literally every single day for the month of November has been up. That doesn't mean that every day has been easy. We had some tumultuous days. Even today's trading was just all over the place. SPY opened up, ripped out of the gate. I was hesitant to chase it because I've been burned, chasing moves out of the gate a couple times. So I've toned back on what I'm trying to do, like literally out of the open. I made a little bit on the run up, but I just didn't feel super great about it. Ended up pulling, I was like planning to buy the dip. I bought one small dip. Something still fell off about it. It just didn't feel like it was rallying as strong as I would expect for, such a bullish move out of the gate. So on the second, it kind of came down to the same level on that second bounce. I decided to hold off, not buy the bounce. So glad I didn't, because it actually broke through that support, kind of bounced lower again, and the SPY really just got beat down. It was crazy though, because when we were looking at one of the other indexes, IWM, Russell 2000 index, it did really well. So you have the S&P 500 that was just kind of struggling to maintain the ground that it had gained pre-market, early market. But then you had the, Russell 2000 index, which was absolutely on a tear. There's not quite the same amount of volume on the Russell 2000. So I'm just concerned about, I know what I've been trading has worked on the S&P 500. I'm not looking to just transition over to the Russell 2000, although I think that it would still work. The Russell 2000 has been an absolute tear, but I guess my hesitation in it is like the day that I switched to Russell 2000, S&P 500 goes on a tear, and I missed that because I've been, waiting on the S&P 500, waiting on the S&P 500. So what is that balance? I don't know. Right now, I'm not looking to rock the boat. I just want to keep making the money where I'm at, and then we can, get fancy with it and change some things up down the line once I get really comfortable with real money at the $10,000 mark for a while, and just continuing to see that work. But it's really exciting. Inside of my real estate job, I make about $300 a day, $350 a day, something like that. We've talked about it on the show before. I make $70,000 a year divided by, divide it all down. But I so my big goal is, can I make that every single day? Now today I made $85 and some change on $1,000. So as long as we can scale it up to 10,000, I would have made $850 today. That's not too shabby. I'm pretty excited about that number. If I can see that same result consistently over time, then I am sitting pretty and super pumped about what we are doing here. Another cool thing is Libby and I put together some goals. And so essentially, if I were to, as you guys know, the beginning of June would be the 2-year mark of me having this real estate job with the Ambition Group, which was ultimately my goal, to be at that point to where I was able to step out of the JOB role back into the solopreneur, entrepreneur, investor role and fully. And so, we're coming up on about 6 months out from that right now. And so Libby and I had a great conversation. We said, okay, if I leave, at that 6 months from now mark at the end of May, beginning of June, which is what we already had planned, as long as we have a year of savings set aside before we jump out of the boat, we're good to rock and roll. If things take off sooner and we're ready to leave in 3 months, we didn't want to have the same year goal because we didn't want it to just like take off really quickly and then, fizzle back out. So right now our goal is we want to have a year and a half of income. And if we basically make money like crazy out of the gate, because last week we had some absolutely crazy days, we we have to have 2 years of income. If it's in less than 3 months that I'm looking to leave the job, we have to have 2 years of income set aside. So quite a big amount. Now, granted, our income needs are way lower because of all the changes that we've been making over the last year and a half. But still, big goals. Um, oh man, there was one other thing I was going to tell you guys about, and I totally forgot about it. It just slipped my mind as I was telling you about the last thing. But yeah, so I'm super excited going forward. I'm going to be tracking the gross and the net profits on the trades, and I will keep you guys updated. I'm super excited to see this, continue working, continue to coming to fruition. And what happens, with this exciting journey that we're on, with the stock trading. One other cool note, just kind of on a side note, that would be fun to share is I started building the kids' bunk beds for the fifth wheel this last weekend, which was a huge because if you've been keeping up with our journey at all, I am very tired. Spinning so many plates, but this is a big project that needed to be done. My goal was to do it around Thanksgiving. It would be done before Christmas, and it could be a bit of a Christmas present to the kids, just to have their own spaces again. And so got a long ways on it this weekend, and put in a pretty much normal length, like 8 hour, 9 hour day on Saturday. Yesterday, Sunday, I decided to crank on it because we're starting to move into some colder weather, and it was a beautiful 80 degrees yesterday. And so I ended up working on it for like, I think I put in like a 13-hour day on it yesterday. Um, Come very, very far though, and I'm pretty excited about the progress of where we're at right now. Uh, yeah, and then on the real estate front, I've got about 2 weeks left on the Santa Barbara flip. Looking at moving that crew into another flip here soon. Obviously, when they're done over there at Santa Barbara, Libby and I have considered me just going down to only running one flip at a time, so I can continue to have more bandwidth, time, and attention for the stocks. That would relieve us in a small deficit every single month from a budget perspective of what we need to live. So that would only happen if the stocks were really working and they were taken off to the point that I was like, okay, that can help supplement our income. Um, Man, yeah, sniping kind of being the biggest thing on the front. We put a pause on VMAS 4 stuff. We put a pause on, any of the war room trades or anything like that, just for the time being. I want to focus on one lane at a time. And, I'm just feeling super blessed that we are crushing it. Things are going really great. This is, an exciting episode to bring you guys, especially after a tough October, to be like, okay, maybe I have some hope again. And, I was so worried that even though I was crushing the gains on the paper side of things, I was so concerned that once it started putting in the real money, we weren't going to see, superb results. And that just hasn't been the case. We've still been seeing really good results. And praise the Lord, I'm so excited about what we're seeing and what's happening here. So, man, with all that said, guys, it's been awesome hanging out with you guys. This has been another episode of the Wealthy Legacy Journey. And before we break out of here, let's say our identity mantra. I explore the unknown. I conquer new frontiers. My journey is powerful, and my wake is a wealthy legacy. And as a reminder, guys, the way we define wealth here at the Wealthy Legacy Journey is simply the ability to cover your monthly expenses without having to lift a finger. One way that I'm looking into right now is actually there are these high yield ETFs. They're very interesting, from a stock perspective. They're very interesting when I'm looking into them. One's like BITO, it's a Bitcoin ETF. But they're high yield and basically earning about 5% or so per month. And so just considering about getting into one of those ETFs and letting our money sit as we continue just to create passive investment. That would be true. That would be wealth. Like that would truly be passive investment income. So that would be really cool to hit that point. And it's probably something that will grow into to 2025. If you look at our financial goals, we're wrapping up 2024. Our goal was to move from, active income to active investment income in 2024, 2025 to really just nail down active investment income, start moving into passive investment income. And then 2026 to 2028 was, the real goal is growing that passive investment income. And we've got some other goals too, but that's kind of like the broad based goals. The word of the year for 2024 has been focus. Year of the word 2025. We think it's going to be breakthrough for us. So if you don't have a word for 2025 yet, make sure you get yourself a word. And one other thing that I'll say is as we're rounding the corner, I know I kind of got on a tangent here again, but as we're rounding the corner into the first week of December, don't forget in the new month to make sure that you pay yourself first. I'm going to beat that drum all the way to my grave, probably. But, you got to pay yourself first when that paycheck comes so you can start growing and using your assets to build wealth. The other side of the coin here at the Wealth Legacy Journey is the way we define legacy. And we define legacy as leaving a long-lasting impact on others who come after you as they receive the fruit of your labor, whether that fruit be good or bad. So, when you think about your life, think about the fruits that you want to receive out of your life and the fruits that you want others to receive out of your life, and then backtrack it. Okay, that's the fruit that I want. What kind of trees do I have to cultivate in order to get that fruit? Backtrack it again. What kind of seeds do I have to plant to cultivate those trees in order to bear those fruits? If you really want apples, you got to plant apple seeds. You got to grow apple trees in order to bear apples. So, what kind of fruit is it that you're looking to bear? Back it up from there to work on building a powerful legacy. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps the algorithm. Also, don't forget in the description of both the podcast and the YouTube video, there's a link to a couple different really cool tools and resources. One being the Wealthy Legacy Journey resources page, and the other one being our Wealth Health Checkup, just to kind of get you guys started on the right path in your wealth and legacy building journey. With all that said, guys, this has been another episode dedicated to you and your own personal wealthy legacy journey. So go out there this week, simply take the right next step, begin to crush it, and make sure you guys let me know about your success stories, how we've encouraged you, how we've built you up, how you're winning, and encourage us, encourage the community to keep going strong and reaching new goals. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys, and I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye, everybody.